Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We're today for not the EU Championship. Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for round 13, the Netherlands, the Dutch Grand Prix. Alrighty, qualifying is underway. We've got 12 minutes on the clock left to go. We are somewhat more on time this evening, so that is of course good. We've got intermediates slapped on these cars. It's going to be a dry race as we've been told. That's right, we're getting very close to the outside of the track there under braking. In the wet, you definitely don't want to do that, regardless of being on the grass in the dry. You just significantly reduce your braking performance, but they've managed to pick it up in the bank section, not on exit though, losing out a little bit. That is a little bit of a dramatic start to their lap, unfortunately, but currently he's only topping the times, a 16 or 17.1 I should say. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Becken, of course, P2, Pursoon in P3 on pursuit to try and beat Zingy if he can today. Zingy not racing into Qatar allowed Pursoon to gain a good 23 points in the end because there was a sprint as well, so he managed to take a big chunk. It of course will help massively. Not really going to be easy for his sake, but it still will help a massive amount. There's Igor, I believe. Is that Igor moving his way up the field? A 17.8, 4 tenths away from Pursoon in P2. Intermediate conditions, of course, will get significantly faster as we continue, and that is Pursoon proving that exactly. DRS available, not available, sorry, in the intermediate conditions. What's Robert going to do? He's going to not set a valid lap, of course, so he's going to go again. Now, Pursoon setting that 0.0. Also something to note, you can continue to do lap after lap after lap in these conditions. You just kind of slow down, save all the energy, and then go for another lap, which you can see Zingy is going to try and do just about now. So yeah, not going into the pit lane. We haven't got the tyre count on screen because we don't really need to, because everybody will be on intermediate tyres, well, on more or less the same tyre, although Becken's decided to plonk on the soft for some reason. We'll see if that does become a reality or not. Not entirely sure, to be honest. I do want to quickly apologise for the lag in the stream. I'm not entirely sure if that will continue or if it will be absolutely fine to continue going, but we'll have to find out, of course, a little bit later on. Maybe there are a few things that we can get done at some point within the next few minutes if it continues to be a severe problem. Anyway, we continue. Pursoon currently tops the times in the pit lane now, so he will wait for a bit, get some fresher tyres on, and then go out again. That is a purple middle sector from Zingy with 3 tenths up on his delta. 16.8 is what it's looking like now. Can he get a little bit further than that? Can he get to a 0.7? I think a 0.8 is a pretty good one, but he's got the 2 major corners, and with the track getting faster and faster, he will definitely be gaining a lot of time. Across the line for the Scotsman, what's it going to be? It's going to be a 16.815, as we thought. Very good job indeed, and that is going to be a nice little comfortable margin that he will be having. Now I'm going to quickly go and see if I can fix some settings, so I do apologise for the delay, but we'll be back in a few moments time. Alrighty, apologies for the delay, everyone. We're back, and hopefully things can be a bit on the up, but it's not looking exactly too straightforward with the internet, but we should be okay. I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine, although it continues to have its issues. Zingy no longer topping the times, as Gilly has done a 16.7, so a 16.8 from Zingy, now beaten by the Ferrari driver. Absolutely perfect from this man. What can he do more? Can he get any further? Or he can't get any further. Can he improve? 5 minutes on the clock still to go, so he continues in his stride. Now Igor squirming at the final corner, a 17.8. What's it gonna be as he gets round nice and cleanly? We didn't get to see the sector at time, so we will just see it up to the line. No DRS, straight line speed, absolutely mental. No, unfortunately not. It's going to be a what was that, 19-second lap time. We're going to have another attempt from the Serb, but unfortunately he's going to lose the car, and that'll be a front wing loss. He's going to have to run to the pits, try and go again if he can. Gilly, he might even get another lap in here, but he is actually pretty bad on his current time. I wouldn't really be disappointed though, because he is currently on provisional pole. Tom Brainer also jumping up to P3. He's 7/10 down on this lap, so he's just going in for a cool down lap to try and save and then maybe go again, or just go into the pit lane and get some fresh tyres. Nabil making a bit of a mistake. That is not exactly what you want to see, and I think he'll probably have bought that lap at 10-second. He was on a decent lap. We got a bit of lag. He now goes into the pit lane anyway, and he will just let that one go. Alrighty. Eagle Pro, the only one out on track at the moment with no front wing. Everyone else going in for the final time to get some fresh tyres. Alrighty, sorry for the delay, we're back. We've got the final stint, if you like, now on its way. Pursoon is going to be the first one out on track. Going to have a slight disadvantage, of course, being in front, which isn't exactly what you want, but it is what it is. Okie dokie. Alright, sorry for the delay there as well. Alright, we're back in it though. We're back in it. Hopefully everything should be fixed. It still seems to be a bit of a problem. It's very, very random with the internet, and I do apologise. It is unfortunately the best situation that we can deal with. That is Devon Young driving in the Alfa Romeo, but I don't think he's going to get a lap in, unfortunately. He is on his way out of the pit lane now to try and get something in. And yeah, we'll see. It for some reason says Robbo is in P10, but that's actually Peanuts, who's disqualified to start at the back of the grid. If I just pause the game, it might fix itself. There you go, as you see. Now, Hassoun, first one to go. He's had all this time to warm up those tyres with a nice and light car, so he should in theory have a good chance. He didn't have any pressure from behind, so this is all eyes on him now to try and get this first lap in. Everybody else would have had to kind of jostle for position a little bit more. All go on board with the Dutchman into the first corner. Nice and smooth through here. Third gear on into fourth. You kind of change your gears a little bit in the wet conditions. Now up the hill you are going to have to brake slightly in the slightly less grippier conditions, but on the hill you get that traction down. It just helps you with that positive camber. It's exactly what you want. Now we go up seventh, down to sixth gear, using a bit of braking, down to fifth gear as well, really trying to push it on the revs, get that power down, get the grit on the rear end if you can, and into the second sector. Yeah, we're in the second sector by a long shot actually. We continue through the second sector, drifting the car. I'm sure he didn't mean to do that. Maybe the rest of the lap will be enough to still improve. Gilly, of course, stopping the times. He still needs to find about 3/10. At 1.2 seconds is pretty good. I think he's going to have to pray, though, that Zingy makes a mistake with that big mistake there from Hassoun. He comes around the final few corners. Just keep it tidy. Do what you can here, my friend. Now, final corner. What's it going to be? Bring it to the middle of the circuit to minimise track distance. Across the line he goes. It's going to be pole. A 15.1. We've got Zingy to go next. What's it going to be for the Scotsman? Can he get it back? He can't! He can't! He's made a mistake. A 0.4. It's not going to work. We've got Gilly coming through. Nabil will follow on behind. What can Gilly do? He's got the advantage of setting the lap a little bit later on. We saw him go top earlier on. He stays in P3. He's made a mistake. Then Bill in P5. It's going to be Robbo to P3 with a 0.9. What can Tom Brainerd do as he crosses the line? It's going to be a P5 as well. He will not improve. Beckham in the pit lane. Igor 9 seconds down on his delta. It is going to be Devon Young not making it to the line as well. And that is Hassoun on pole position for the Dutch Grand Prix. Absolutely crucial for this circuit where track position is everything. That is awesome for his race. Whether he can get a good start and then get into, of course, turn one safely, that is another question. How is the strategy going to work out at a high downforce circuit like this as well? It is going to be all a little bit nuts. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. Hassoun, of course, a 15.1, 3/10 ahead. Is that pace advantage going to show in the Grand Prix when consistency is key? Will he consider himself lucky, or will he be proud of that pole position? Making that mistake, of course, but in the first and third sector, it was enough to get the job done by quite a decent margin. Hassoun takes pole, Zingy in P2, then we got Robbo in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We'll go through the race director just in case. We'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold. Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We are away. Pursoon, a phenomenal start. Zingy to the outside. He's going to send it. But Pursoon's got the advantage. He is not going to be able to challenge. Robbo sticks in P3. Perfect stuff for him. That's Gilly having to block off the cars behind as Becken and Tom Brainer are side by side. That's going to be Nabil in the wall. A safety car. More contact. Cars are struggling on the exit right there. That seems like a very familiar incident for Tom Brainer last season or the season before. I can't quite remember which race it was, having an incident at that part of the circuit. Luckily for them, the safety car has been deployed and they'll be able to go for a pit stop and maybe work a different strategy depending on the tyre situation. Of course, Becken on that soft, so he could go to the hards whether he wants to or not. I don't know, but what a shame there. Nabil losing the car at turn 3 and getting to turn 4 and just absolutely smashing it into the wall. Absolutely tragic, and that is qualifying all gone to waste. All that effort, unfortunately, in the wall. Soft tyres as well, looking to try and be a bit aggressive with that strategy. Was looking to be an exciting race for his sake. Unfortunately, we will not be able to see that. It does mean that Pursoon can relax a little bit. He's on that medium. He wanted to try and secure that win or lead of the race early on, of course. That is Devon. I don't know what happened there, having an issue maybe. We're going to see a pit stop from both Aston Martins. So have they got damage? That's Tom Brainer losing the car. Losing the car on the penultimate corner. Becken speeding in the pit lane, having more issues to his race. I do not believe it. That is Igor also getting a front wing change, so he had an instance somewhere maybe with his teammate. That would explain why both of these guys had those issues. Now, Tom Brainer DNFing. He's got no front wing. Maybe he took it a little bit too hot in the penultimate corner and then absolutely clouted the wall, and it was game over already. That is tragic for his race as well. Hopefully it doesn't happen to him tomorrow, but it does mean that he unfortunately doesn't get any experience today to prepare him for tomorrow, which yeah, couldn't have gone too much worse there for him. What a shame to see that happen. Now we have got, of course, fresh medium tyres for Igor, Becken and Peanuts, and then we've got, of course, Pursoon on Gilly on mediums, of course, but just a little bit less rush. Devon, Robbo, Zingy all going for the standard strategy, which should be pretty decent. Whether it will work or not, Pursoon making the medium hard work last season before having, of course, technical difficulties which lost him that race victory effectively. The other guys still deserved it though, because yeah, they did a phenomenal job. Many people deserve that victory at that point in the race, of course. Now, this safety car isn't exactly perfect for Pursoon. I'm sure he would have wanted it to come out a little bit later, and that would have been golden. He's tried to take the risk. He's tried to be on that medium tyre to make the strategy work, but it's not quite as good as it, well, really could be. That is Igor Becken, of course, going into the pit lane to serve that 5-second time penalty, and he will be on a different set of tyres as well. So I think, is he going on to a set of softs? Interesting tyre choice, but he's going to try and make it work. Maybe go to hards to the end a little bit later on. It might be an idea, of course. Now, yeah, as I was saying, as I was not saying, I just wanted to say, of course, Devon Young having false feedback issues, maybe pausing the game and lagging back behind Igor momentarily a few times and then making their way back to P5. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there, but they continue. Now, hopefully they can get those issues fixed. If not, it's going to be a long old race. Of course, high downforce, lots of corners around this circuit. That makes it even harder to work the wheel. So that will increase things a lot more, increase the sweatiness, the fatigue later on. It's going to be a tough race if that's for him to come, but it is what it is. Nothing you can do. Now we'll get ready for the restart very, very shortly as we'll head to the sector line as you go down this back straight. There you go, safety car is in this lap. Pursoon will lead the way. Zingy is going to be reacting depending on when Pursoon decides to go for it. That is going to be crucial. Whether Zingy can get a nice big old slipstream and get challenge into for the first corner or not, we will not know until it happens. safety car's got a long way to go until it gets into the pit lane, of course, as it's only a GT car, so this bank section will help it, but still, compared to a Formula 1 car, absolutely no contest. Now, it comes into the pit lane within a couple of seconds. When will he go for it? Not yet. He's still waiting. Zingy's just pulling to the inside, getting close. Bassoon cuts him off, of course, as he needs to do, to make sure that he's in front. He's still not gone for it just yet, and now he's gone for it, and he's caught him off guard. Absolutely phenomenal restart there for Bassoon. Zingy's trying to come back at him. Will he try and send it to the inside line? It's not going to work out, not with those tyres. It's not worth it. He has the stronger strategy. If it all goes his way, he should be in a golden opportunity situation. All the speeches everywhere. Becken, soft tyres, making that move immediately off the restart, and now trying to make more progress if he can. Is he going to be aggressive on the energy? He's not. He's not going to try and have a go here on the Aston Martin. We've got Devon Young very close to the back of the Ferrari driver, with Robbo just up in front of these guys. Is Devon going to try and make the move work on that hard tyre? It's going to be so tricky to do so, but he's all over the back of him. Just can't find a way through yet on this restart. All the cars are very close together, which makes it even more difficult, of course. You don't want to lose a train. He has lost the rear, and that's going to allow Peanuts and Becken to both go through. Will Becken try and make it a double overtake? He's going to back off for now and just let things happen. He's had a bad enough race so far, so if this is going to be a blessing, he's just got to take it and count himself lucky right there. Bassoon leads the way on the restart. Now, Zingy really close behind. Is he going to try and use the energy to prevent Bassoon from escaping? He's got the fastest lap with that, of course. The slipstream is going to be his advantage. He's going to get DRS on the next lap, of course, as well. That will definitely be a big help. Whether it'll be enough, though, I'm not entirely sure. We've got Gilly losing a position to Peanuts. We're going to have Becken around the outside. Is this one going to work? He'll have the traction on the exit. He's going to have to use the energy if he wants to really make it work, though. Make it stick. Inside line for Gilly. Now the inside line for Becken. And that is going to be game over. He isn't going to be challenged on the inside, but he still goes a little bit wide. Devon having more issues. I do wonder if he's maybe got a default setup on. I'm not entirely sure. Shouldn't have, because he joined in qualifying, but it might be just the case. Not exactly what you want to see, of course, but yeah, it's the way it goes. Zingy holding on nicely. DRS, as I said, of course, will be available to him to prevent him from losing any more time, using a bit of energy to try and stay with the Alfa Romeo to make sure he doesn't lose it, of course. Now, DRS not available this lap, sorry. Next lap it will be available. And that is going to be on this back straight here, with Bassoon, of course, dragging them across the straight a little bit. And he's got plenty of energy to use in that car, so he's got a lot more pace to bring out. And with a couple of laps under the safety car, I'm surprised that he's not trying to push a little bit harder here, because he wants to use that performance out of these tyres. Maybe pit early and get that severe undercut. It might work, but fresh tyres are absolutely killer around this circuit, which is why he needs to make it work. He's going to have a heavier car compared to Zingy when he gets onto the medium tyres later on, which will never be easy. That's why the hard medium is such a strong strategy, but of course a riskier one, and that's why Bassoon's taken this precaution to make sure that he maintains the lead from pole position. Now, DRS available to Zingy. He might actually have a go here and go for that lead of the Grand Prix. Using the RS at this circuit, though, is kind of a bit of a luxury. Is he going to try and make it work? I don't know. If he does, fair play, but it's very hard to say DRS around Zandvoort, high downforce circuit, just like Qatar. You are going to have to use it very carefully, and he's not going to use it. He's going to use this DRS as an opportunity to kind of save a bit more energy rather than actually not, of course. Now, what his race is right now is using a bit of energy here and there just to make sure that he doesn't lose any DRS. Bassoon makes a mistake. It's going to be a drag race as they go down the straight. Zingy's going to let it be, and that is going to be Bassoon showing the first sign of weakness. What a shame there for him, losing the advantage that he had. He regains the lead immediately, but yeah, Zingy wasn't looking for that, of course. He was looking to try and stay behind and let these hard tyres work as they are, because he knows that the Alfa Romeo is faster than him at the moment, and he's really trying to use that as a tool to his race so he can relax a little bit more. Now, will he try and go for a move on the straight here? I'm not entirely sure. I'm surprised that he didn't try and at least lead the Grand Prix for a bit. Looking at who's making some severe progress in this race is Becken. 4-lap old softs, they're not going to be much quicker for much longer, but he might be able to get involved in the battle for P1 on the next lap if possible. Zingy's going to get the DRS. Will he challenge for the lead of the Grand Prix, or is he going to let it happen? He is going to let it happen. He's still not going to go for that move. Now Pursoon has got to push. He has to get out of DRS range, otherwise it's not going to work out. He really needs to get the job done. Now Becken, he's got a perfect opportunity here to break or create a gap. Of course, with Pursoon having a couple of issues, Zingy's not exactly pushing to go for a move. Still pushing on the energy, but not pushing to go for a move. Becken's got to use that to his advantage. Couple of straights, of course, in that first sector. Now they get to the second sector, where he should be able to gain, unless those softs have already died off. A 1.3 second gap is what we have. It was a 1.1 second. Of course, DRS didn't help him. He's got it to 1.1 momentarily, but now again on the straight. So unfortunately, I think he's going to lose that again. That is maybe the soft tyres, unfortunately, finished at this stage. Of course, they'll be able to maintain probably their pace ahead of the cars behind for a lap or two, but to catch the cars ahead with a DRS train, of course, to their name, it's not really going to be so possible. And we could even see Peanuts going for the move. He's going to go defensive to the inside, pretty hard to the inside, but he will not be able to challenge it. He's just going to have to give that one up, unfortunately. We see, of course, Devon Young and Gilly in the background. They continue their battle. Devon on the hard tyre. He should be able to come back a lot stronger a little bit later on, of course, with the superior strategy. We'll see if he can get himself to the podium with that one. Now, Gilly on that medium tyre. He'll be able to get on the back of Becken, I'm sure, within a couple of laps. Peanuts already showing that medium is kind of there already. And he's also got 1 lap fresher tyres as well, which is only going to assist him further. Now, Eagles had an issue. That's going to be Becken off the road as he mounts the curb, unfortunately, and it's just completely dragged wide. He hits a marker board accidentally, makes it a little bit more dramatic. That's going to be Devon Young trying to capitalise on all of the drama. Gilly maybe being compromised and allowing out the Alfa Romeo to get a nice run. Get in front of that medium tyre runner already. Now he's only got 1 medium tyre runner directly in front of him. Not quite got DRS, which is brilliant for Peanuts, but these two are going to be battling hard tomorrow. This is perfect stuff for them to be able to get some good data on each other for tomorrow's race. Of course, that's going to be a full safety car deployed. We will overtake the safety car before it leaves the pit lane, however, so that is all good, of course. So it does mean we're going to be going again. Otherwise, if it did come out before and the race leaders past the pit lane entry, then that would have been absolutely tragic. Now, yes, interesting. Becken, of course, having an issue, so he's got that front wing change, so having more problems after that. That's caused the safety car. That has now made it a brilliant opportunity here for Pursoon. He is going to have a phenomenal strategy. Zingy's going to be furious. Now, this is once again another race for him that has been plagued by safety car issues. Of course, having a great opportunity in Japan to go for the win, but then missing out because of a late safety car, putting everyone on equal tyres. And then, of course, a few races before that as well. I think the safety cars kind of screwed him over. But then also a lack of safety cars at Silverstone that did screw him over even more, because he was never able to make an advantage back up than he had, of course, because he lost a load of time. Now Pursoon will be good to go to the end. Zingy, I don't think he's got a choice. He's got to go for a medium tyre and just hope it lasts. And he's got to go for that medium and just push. No safety. He's just got to let everything go absolutely nuts. That is his only chance of winning this race. It's what we saw last season, of course, with the medium tyres going absolutely nuts, with Pursoon on that hard tyre, having the disadvantage before, but then getting there eventually. That's going to be Peanuts making a mistake, whether that be a game issue or his issue, onto the wet tyre. Unfortunately, I do not believe it. That would have been a phenomenal opportunity to be on fresh tyres and continue. That was such a tragic moment for him. There's tragedy everywhere. There's moves up and down the order, and Peanuts is going to be plummeting, I reckon, all the way to the back of the grid. There is a big gap to the cars behind, but they will catch up significantly. He might be able to stay in front of Igor, but he's on fresh tyres already. Hard tyre for Gilly. He's going to be going to the end. He's going to be good to go. It's just whether he can minimise the chance of a issue, or I say that issue, pace deficit for the medium tyres as they have their initial pace advantage. Will we see a possible puncture from these medium tyre runners? I don't think so. 25 laps? Maybe, actually. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, what we can see, because it is a high downforce circuit, we could see a medium soft. Soft tyres are absolutely nuts. If we've got over 20 lap old hard tyres against fresh softs, we've seen gaps been brought down around this circuit. Nifojan, of course, in the NA tier a few seasons ago, making that famous clip. Zingy making it work a couple of times. I don't know if it was last season or a season before that. He definitely made something work as well. I think that was in the NA tier as well, the season after Nifojan made his famous clip. It just shows that the soft tyres, the softer tyres on this circuit is absolutely mega. He will go into the pit lane, will Peanuts, of course, and make that extra pit stop, which he didn't want to make. But that's going to be still a tyre that he can choose now, and it will go a little bit longer, so he'll be able to make it a little bit safer. Still up for the mediums, interestingly, not onto the hards. So I'm possibly missing something here. Obviously, 36 laps. There is a lot of them. So in that regard, sure, the mediums could possibly make it. If there's so many laps, then generally tyres can go a little bit longer, lap-wise at least. I guess that's either because of track distance or just tyre wear is slightly lower. Bassoon, regardless, still has the advantage. That's Gilly going off the circuit, taking a bit of a detour, not exactly what he needs. Now, Bassoon's got to make sure that he just try and works with the rest of the field to prevent his time loss. That's his aim at the start of this race. If he can stay in front of Zingy, that would be great, but Zingy's going to be very aggressive, so would it be worth the risk? I'm not entirely sure. He has got a teammate behind him, has Bassoon, of course, in Devon Young. Obviously, he's a reserve driver, so he's got to be careful. The safety car is in this lap. Bassoon will lead the way, and Zingy is the one to react. Safety car's got a long way to go. We'll find out within a few moments' time whether it will be Zingy or Bassoon leading the way at the end of lap 13. And he goes again for a pretty decent restart. Zingy reacts well, a bit better this time. Is he going to use the energy to try and go for the move into the first corner? He might well do it. I think he is going to send it. He was so close, but he doesn't opt for it. Devon Young so close to these guys as well. He's also on that medium tyre, of course. Gilly, pretty lonely up ahead, of course. He's got Robbo for company behind, who will be gaining a lot as well. Will he catch up to the lead pack as well, Robbo? That was a bit of a missed opportunity, of course, for them to be able to do that. That's Beckon into the pit lane again with a bit of a issue. Goes on to that hard tyre to try and make it to the end of the Grand Prix. Luckily, because we're on the safety car restart, everyone was close together, so he might be able to make something work here. It's very, very possible. Igor and Peanut staying as they are. That is Robbo looking so close. I don't think it's going to be possible. We've got Devon Young all over the curb as he tries to have a look, but it's not quite working. Zingy and Bassoon very, very quick, despite the tyre differences, of course. Bassoon holds on for now. Zingy, is he going to wait for the DRS, or is he going to try and go for it immediately here? He has the grip on the exit. He maintains a nice gap. It's going to be exactly the same gap as it was before, but this time they'll have built the speed up a little bit better. He's still not looking to send it. Bassoon goes for a fastest lap at the moment, while Zingy relaxes. He's got to make this tyre work earlier than I thought. Well, I guess we must be missing something. The tyres must be able to go a little bit longer than I'm suggesting. I just really don't see it working in their favour if they don't make this move earlier on. Of course, with this tyre that is possibly going to have issues later on. Would it have those puncture issues? I'm not entirely sure. Devon Young holding on just about, but 4/10 not going to get any better than Zingy pushing a little, well, not really pushing. He's just got that advantage in Sector 2, of course, where all the corners really come alive for his sake. Now, the final sector, the first sector is pretty quick. The final sector is probably quicker because there's only a few major corners, and all of the rest of the stuff is pretty much more or less flat out. He's closer than ever this time, but no DRS. Will he be willing to push it? He can definitely make the move by the time we get to the end of the straight, so he's going to use the energy. He's not going to waste any time. He goes straight into the lead of the Grand Prix with the fastest lap to assist him as well. Now, Pursoon, he will have DRS if he can stay within a second of the AlphaTauri driver. The question is, can he get the job done? Pursoon, is he going to be able to redeem himself from last season, not have technical issues, and win the Dutch Grand Prix, his second home Grand Prix, of course, with Belgium and the Netherlands being closely related to him. Now, Robbo makes that move on Gilly. We've also got Peanuts, who's caught up to the back of this pack and looking to maybe have a go at some point soon. Igor, unfortunately, not able to hold on to the battle, but they are only just a few moments up the road, so he might be able to get involved in the pack. He's within DRS range just about. Did he get the detection point, though? We'll look at his front rear wing, I should say, and he gets the job done, so it will help him. And we've got Peanuts also sending it on the inside of the Ferrari using the gravel. It was an aggressive send, so I think that's fair enough for him to come back like that. It was pretty difficult. The space is minimal. Now Gilly is going to be right behind. DRS will be available for both drivers, but Slipstream will not be available for Peanuts. But he's not going to go for the move. It's going to be Igor going for it on Gilly. What a move from Igor. I thought he wasn't in the battle. All of a sudden he was. Now Gilly just had that compromised exit and wasn't willing to fight it. Just let it go, especially with the tyre difference. Trying to lose minimal time advantage, of course. Very, very interesting stuff from these guys. Fighting pretty hard. Peanuts using a lot of energy early on the restart now. And that's something he's probably going to learn the hard way for this race. Hopefully trying to get that fixed for the next race. Robbo also got a bit of a lack of ERS in his car at the moment. We've got Devon Young sitting in the train. This is what you need at Zandvoort with the high downforce. It really makes you struggle, of course. A lot of drag in the car. It's going to be a heavy car with heavy fuel, with the extra fuel you have to carry, and you're going to be slow on the straights. So if you can get a bit of a train, a bit of a punch in the air, it means that you can have just a bit of an easier time. Of course, Pursoon taking the lead again of the race, but now Zingy getting the lead once again as well. This is very interesting. These guys are working together, but it's only going to work in Pursoon's favour if Zingy works together. This is an interesting situation. If it stands with Pursoon taking the win and Zingy in P2, then of course that'll be a 4 points advantage that Pursoon will be getting over Zingy to try and continue to break down this championship margin. And that's with what, 3 races to go after this one, with Abu Dhabi, Italy and Brazil, with Abu Dhabi being very strong for Zingy. Italy and Brazil not so much. We'll find out how that will go, of course, with Becken winning the Brazilian Grand Prix last season, and Zingy only ever winning one Italian Grand Prix at Monza, so he definitely has a lot to try and prove that, although winning last season at least. Zingy has the lead. Pursoon, is he going to immediately try and retake that, or is he going to try and fight it on lap 17 out of 36? Not entirely sure. ERS is definitely of an excess for these guys as they're in that train, so Pursoon's not going to have any problems, and he'll be comfortably in the lead as well. Zingy will not be able to come back at him immediately, so he's just going to have to let that one go, and he will spend the rest of the lap behind the Alfa Romeo. Just doesn't have an answer at this stage, unless there's a bit more to it behind the scenes that we don't quite know yet until the interviews. He is just sat there. That is Devon Young making a bit of a mistake maybe. Just not able to hold on as close as he was earlier on. Only 3/10 a few moments ago with a lot of ERS in the car. Had to use a bit more now to make sure that he maintains that DRS. 7/10 is bringing it down. So he's doing a good job here. As these guys are in their train, that is Peanuts, who's not able to hold on. That is Robbo, who was leading that train, now down to P5. These guys have their own little battle going on, of course. This is great data for them for tomorrow, but Igor needs to be trying his best to get through to get that P4, as he will be scoring exactly the same points as the EU drivers, of course. Robbo, would he go for the move? We're expecting Zingy to go for the move, but this time he's not close enough to Pursoon. Robbo will go for the inside line, and he's going to take that racing line as he gets the job done pretty early on. Peanuts isn't going to fight him. Igor isn't going to be too happy with that, of course, because with the cars ahead being in a bit of a train, it does allow them to break away, despite being in DRS yourself if you're a third in that train. Now, he'll be able to catch up a little bit. These guys will naturally slow each other up as they're so close in the corners. On the straights is where they get that advantage really only. Now, Igor has to make sure that he keeps focused, because he is on the, well, arguably one of the most disadvantaged tyres of the Grand Prix, of course. 9-lap-old tyres as well as Robbo, whereas the other guys, well, Peanuts has got 7, so he's on the freshest tyres in the Grand Prix. Gilly right behind, he's just looking to try and get this crossover period underway as soon as possible with tyre advantage, of course, which will come towards the closing stages of this Grand Prix. So he's just got to make sure he focuses on time loss being minimal, damage limitation. As long as he's got DRS, he is in a very strong position for a good result in this Grand Prix. Becken just trying to pick off the laps a little bit with this severe undercut that he's looking to try and get, and it could work out quite nicely with him, of course. Now, something that I've just seen is Zingy has had more issues. Now, Devon Young, on exactly the same tyre, is still within DRS range. Whether that be Pursoon breaking away on the energy, which it seems he is, to try and push away. Now, what he's trying to do here is see, okay, the drop-off is going to happen within the next few laps. Maybe. Although I feel like he's maybe pushed a little bit early. If he can get him out of DRS now, by the time he tries to push and catch up again, Zingy will run out of ERS and tyre life to be able to maintain that gap, and it will be a comfortable victory for Pursoon. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Now, 1.5 seconds, Zingy can catch up. He's got a bit of energy in that car, of course, to do so. And I think the tyres are still good to go, at least until lap 16-ish, which is what you kind of expect from the Brazilian Grand Prix, which is also 36 laps. Now, we'll see how that works. Devon Young just holding on his race for his sake, looking for that podium in a pretty nice situation. And, of course, the championship battle up ahead. Doesn't really want to get too involved in it. Robbo making the move on Peanuts, and Igor is so close. I said earlier on he was looking like he was in a difficult situation, but this time it's not going to be so much. And that's going to be Robbo. Robbo loses the car. It's going to be a virtual safety car as he loses his front wing as well, having to make a bit of a switch around, unfortunately, a bit of a 360. Eventually, of course, going for the kind of reverse and acceleration. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, another car is a victim to turn 4. The bank section just before it, as you get really light with the uphill section, you lose all the grip, lost the car, P7, virtual safety car only here to save him. It's going to go for the restart in just a few moments' time now. Will he stay in the race to try and get some good data? I think that is very valuable for later on in the Grand Prix, of course. At least for tomorrow as well. It will be very good. Indeed it is. Time to study the strategy. Now, it's not easy. It's a virtual safety car. It's a virtual safety car. And these guys have gone into the pit lane. Is it actually a virtual safety car, or is it a full safety car and we're being told that it is a virtual safety car? I'm incredibly confused why Pursuon's pit here. I'm incredibly confused. Devon Young onto the soft tyre. Zingy and Pursuon both on the mediums. Now Pursuon, he's going to have that second advantage, of course, which is right for him to do, but Zingy's got a perfect pit stop. And he's right back in it. These guys have got equal tyres. They've got a lot of work to do here with that cold tyre, of course. Zingy not seeming to struggle so much. I do not believe what I'm seeing. I do not understand. Pursuon, of course, there's a long way to go in this Grand Prix, and he would have been catching up massively, Zingy, but Pursuon maybe would have had about 20 seconds, possibly more, ahead of Zingy that he would have had to catch up, which would have been absolutely monumental. Fair enough then. I think it's probably the right choice, but it's going to be pure pace, and it is going to be a very difficult race to the end of the Grand Prix. And of course, unfortunately for Devon Young, losing, that's a 5-second advantage or disadvantage that he had, of course, for the pit stops, and having a bit of an issue as well. Now making that 11 seconds, cold soft tyres, he'll be able to make a bit of a comeback later on. But to be honest, I think he's just looking for some tyre data at this stage, and Robbo is doing the same thing. Becken almost able to catch up a little bit. That's going to be Zingy taking the provisional lead of the Grand Prix, and it's not going to come easy as Pursuon is going to continue to hold it. He wants the track position to the end. It's going to be a very hard battle that we're in for this evening. These guys, of course, up front. That is the top three, as you can see. Gilly trying to stay out on the hard tyre, as I was expecting from Pursuon. Will that work for him? I'm not entirely sure. The two Aston Martins leading for now, trying to make it work, trying to work together as a team, which is very good to see, of course. But we'll find out if that is going to be beneficial or not. Now, Pursuon and Zingy both have to try and overtake these guys. It's not really traffic, but it is different strategy runners, of course, which they should be able to get through pretty, I say, easily. It's whether Pursuon can get through them and then maybe cause a bit of a headache for Zingy, of course, or whether Zingy can try and spot an opportunity to make an overtake on a couple of cars at once and get in front of Pursuon that way. It's very possible. As you see, Zingy is going to go for the move regardless on Pursuon and get the fastest lap to add to the benefits of his race. Continue. Peanuts leads the way. 4/10 from Igor. That's Robbo and Becken switching positions. The two teammates for the EU tier. They are, I don't know if they're working together or if there was a mistake from one of the drivers, but they've switched up. Robbo's going to try and make some good progress on that medium tyre from being at the back, of course, with that damage. Now, soon. He's got a lot to do here. He's got a lot to think about. So is Zingy. I think both of these guys are probably going to make a fairly straightforward pass here on Gilly. Gilly not having DRS, of course. ERS. These guys do have a bit of it. Zingy already making that move, which is a very interesting strategy call. Now, DRS and slipstream is going to be significant for Pursuon, sorry. And yeah, that was pretty easy there from Pursuon. Gilly kind of forced offline a little bit, which made a clear path for the Alfa Romeo to get through. So not really the best way for Zingy to make that move. I think he was hoping that Gilly would have maybe fought a little bit more than that, but he didn't really need to for the sake of his race. He's looking for damage limitation. That's Igor onto the softs to the end of this Grand Prix. Has he pitted a few laps too early, or has he made it work? It is very possible. As I said, more laps in this Grand Prix. The tyres can probably go a little bit longer, but also because of the high downforce, the softer tyres just have such an advantage. This could work out quite nicely for him. He's not willing to go to the end of the Grand Prix on the medium, so it was kind of proving that Zingy on that medium tyre was in a lot of trouble previously. Pursuon is strong at the moment, holding on to the back of Zingy. We saw between Nifojan and Zingy a few seasons ago the battle between the two teammates in AlphaTauri, an absolutely epic duel that we saw It can get very tight at this circuit. Very, very tight. Peanut speeds in the pit lane, unfortunately. That's Pursoon taking the lead of the Grand Prix immediately. They didn't need to make an overtake on Igor or Peanuts as they've both gone for their strategy calls. Gilly trying his best to hold on to maybe secure a P3, a podium. As of course he would really like to see. That is going to be Devon Young just out ahead. You see the two Aston Martins working, working together. Of course the undercut was very nice for Eager Pro. Will they be able to catch up to Devon Young? I think they will be absolutely perfect, really. They're going to be able to do that easily. Will they be able to catch up to Gilly? I'm sure they will have a good opportunity. Devon Young, will he be able to go to the end of the Grand Prix though? I'm not sure. I don't know if that is going to be so straightforward, really. We'll find out, of course, in a little bit of time. There's a couple of battles that are kind of being set up, but this is the golden spot. Pursoon got to the lead of the Grand Prix. I'm just trying to, I don't know if he's trying to make a gap or not. He's just trying to make sure he uses his pace to his advantage and he can relax because he realizes Zingy wasn't close enough. Now he sees that Zingy doesn't go for that move. Will he try and take it a little bit easier now if he knows that the Scotsman isn't going to push for overtakes? Just kind of take it a little bit slower. Don't get any track limit warnings, although you shouldn't be around Zandvoort, because if you are getting a track limit warning around this circuit, you're probably jumping the curb and just losing a significant amount of time, because you really do have to work hard to find those track limits. Now, Igor's already made that move here on Devon Young. I didn't realise that, that Devon's maybe had a bit of a mistake, a bit of an issue. Those tyres are definitely not going to be as easy to drive compared to the fresher soft tyres, and we'll probably see Peanut send it to the inside line of the Alfa Romeo. That was an aggressive move. Nothing less there for Peanuts. He's managed to make it work. Devon's not going to be happy, but I think he kind of did what he needed to do, you know. I think it kind of worked. We'd have to look at a replay to double check, however, so I'm not going to comment too much, but he's made it. Anyway, he's still got DRS on his teammate, and these guys are going to continue to try and get that P3, of course. Igor looking to try and get it over the EU drivers, as it still does affect him if he does lose out to an EU driver in the F1 tier at least. As Peanut's getting the fastest lap on that soft tyre. Not long to go in the Grand Prix now, and Pursoon has tried to pull the plug incredibly early. Is he pushing, taking more risks, burning the tyres, burning the energy a little bit more to try and have an advantage over the Scotsman? I think he is, but so is Zingy. He's having to push as well to try and get that DRS. Will he be able to maintain the DRS by the time we get to the end and get to the main straight? I think he's just about done enough, which is crucial. Pursoon is not going to be able to have that advantage. He's going to now have to try and push in the corners with all his might in Sector 2 to see if he can break away again, but Zingy will gain a massive amount. No energy for either driver having that push with the DRS. It's all cancelled out. That is a massive advantage, 3/10 that Zingy's just gained. It might be the difference between winning and losing this race later on. Peanuts and Igor switching positions as they continue to catch Gilly. 2.4 seconds, however, is not exactly easy for these guys. Gilly's going to be mega slow at the end of the Grand Prix though. Now, Zingy, he's still got to try and hold on. That Alfa Romeo is incredibly quick. Very, very rapid in these corners, but he's still not done enough to break away from DRS range. Now, Pursoon's got to try and focus his efforts on saving ERS again for the end of the Grand Prix. He seems absolutely mighty through a couple of corners in that second sector, but it's all a bit too late, because by the time he gets there, Zingy's got the DRS. Now, it might actually change. Zingy using a bit of energy to try and hold on a little bit longer. He's only just about got the DRS, but he's not using it. Why isn't he using it? unless it's a visual bug, he's not using the DRS. He does gain a little bit, of course, but not that much. That must have been a bug. There is no way that he didn't use DRS right there. That could be now. I say it again, the difference between losing and winning this Grand Prix. That's going to be Gilly already losing his P3, of course, the podium positions. Peanuts does have a time penalty, so maybe if he's lucky, he'll be able to hold on by the time we get to the end of the Grand Prix. But really importantly, Igor has to make this move. If he can make this move, then, you know, he might be able to stay behind Peanuts. And if he stays behind Peanuts, then he's going to get that P3. That's going to be a podium for this man. That is a 5 second as well. Not a track limit, not a 3 second, a 5 second. Peanuts has got a lot of work to do. Igor has also got a lot of thinking to do. He's not catching. He's not going to be catching like this. He's going to go for the move here to try and get it on DRS. Is that a wise opportunity to go for it there? He's now lost DRS to his teammate. And he's just got to pray that Peanuts doesn't have the pace advantage to be able to extend within the next few laps. It's going to be very tough for Peanuts. Igor's just got to try and keep it careful and not lose the car, and he might be good to go. It's all bubbling up with the battles that we've got here. One for the win, one for the podium position. Hasoon still holding on. This time, the gap isn't there. The gap advantage is not what he wants. Regardless of that, both drivers low on energy. It is pure DRS, pure straight line. Who's got the better setup and who has got, of course, the slipstream advantage? Well, it will be Zingy, but DRS not as powerful around this circuit, of course. Or I say that, in this game, it might be good enough for Hasoon to stay ahead. Zingy will still be good to go, and he is closer than he was earlier on, so if he can maintain that, he can definitely win this Grand Prix and protect his championship, and potentially win a little bit earlier on. Will he be able to do it? I'm not entirely sure. Now, it's still very difficult regardless where Hasoon finishes this race. Regarding gaining on the championship, it's not impossible mathematically, but he's giving himself every possible chance at taking this, of course. He is doing what he needs to do. The F1.5 champion from 2 seasons ago, now fighting for the F1 title if he can. Zingy, the 5-time, looking to be 6-time world champion. Absolute dominance. Can he get the job done yet again this season? It's all in his favour. Will it be, though? Will it be? Will he be able to put enough time in to make sure that he does secure it? Because it is looking like it's breaking away at the end of this season, like we saw in season 5, almost losing it, but just about by a couple of points managing to hold on. Soon, lap 33, he will be starting 6/10. Closer again is Zingy. He is in a strong position once more, saving a bit of energy, but so is Hasoon. These guys are just trying to focus for the last couple of laps of the race. It's going to be an absolute blitz to the end of the Grand Prix. In the meantime, Zingy, Igor Pro is holding on nicely, not really gaining or losing to his teammate right here. So holding on and making it work. This will be a very nice opportunity for him, but these guys are going to be so slow on the soft tyres, of course. It's not going to be easy to get to the end of the Grand Prix, although very possible. They're not exactly going to get a puncture, whereas these two men, they might do so. Gilly and Devon, they both have very interesting tyre situations. Devon should be good, but they're going to be incredibly old. Now, I can't remember what I've done in the past on these kind of tyres, but yeah. It'll be a tough one. Gilly, he's in that P5 situation. He's going to be well into the 20s. He's already in the 20s right now with the tyre life. P5 is on the cards, but Devon Young, despite that, is catching up. Of course, losing that position, or not losing that position, not even gaining the position yet, trying to make it work to get that 10 points if he can. Now, both drivers are going to risk punches at this stage of the Grand Prix. They've got to be very careful. Regardless, the pace advantage seems to be with Devon Young. DRS and ERS not being used ERS, so DRS isn't enough at this stage of the Grand Prix. 4/10 splitting Zingy and Pursoon. Zingy continues to break that gap down. Will Pursoon be able to find something a little bit later on in the Grand Prix to break away? I'm not entirely sure. He seemed to have the pace advantage, but he did end up using a lot of battery. Still, Zingy did as well. It just seemed that Pursoon was able to utilise a little bit more of the car, of course, whilst using that battery. Zingy using it as well, but only just doing enough to hold on. The faster car seems to be the Alfa Romeo here. It's just DRS is holding on. Track position, however, is a priority around this circuit. It might be enough. It looks like it could be enough to be able to allow him to hold on. As you, of course, see, the finish line is only halfway down the straight, so it's no good if you catch up to make the move into the first corner, because you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there in time to cross the line first and win the Grand Prix. Zingy has got to be 2 or 3 tenths behind by the time we get to that final corner to make sure that he gets that run. He was 4 tenths before. Well, he was 4 tenths earlier on. Whether he was on the straight, I can't quite remember. But 2 tenths, he is very, very close. That is going to be Devon Young and Gilly, though, switching positions into the first corner. Finally making it work on DRS is Devon Young. It's still going to be a very, very, very tense moment for these guys on the tyres. Whether it's going to be a puncture or just a loss of grip and spinning out, we will find out. The two Alfa Romeos are really in the wars at the moment. Eager Pro in the meantime gaining a little bit of time here on his teammate. Will he try and look to go for the move here on track? Regardless, if he's got to just focus on the result, because it would be a phenomenal one once again. Eagle winning a race this season in Mexico with a fastest lap to add to it in a very, very dramatic style. Looking for another great result right here. It's going to be Zingy taking the lead of the Grand Prix right here. It's going to be Pursoon looking to go for the switchback, just about holding it off is Zingy. He's really gone for the plug. He's going to send it to the inside. It's Pursoon. He knows what he's got to try and do. He's trying to push to get that track position again, but it's not going to work out as we thought. In the meantime as well, Gilly and Devon switch up on the DRS train. Gilly's made that same decision as Zingy has. I think it might be the right one. It will definitely be an advantage. Zingy, is he going to hold on just enough to be able to win this Grand Prix? Will Pursoon be able to show this second sector, add to his advantage and get that DRS? Maybe be able to challenge. They're both flashing, nothing left in either car. He's going to have to absolutely nail the final few corners. Is the Alfa Romeo. It's not going to be so simple. We've got a couple more corners to go. I think Zingy's going to have it. DRS is available. DRS is available. He's going to have a bit of a tight run. It's not going to matter. Zingy is going to eventually win the Dutch Grand Prix this evening. What an effort here from Pursoon. He was incredibly quick, but it just wasn't enough. Igor is going to be able to get that P3 in the end. That's going to be Peanuts P4. A brilliant drive from some very difficult situations from both of these guys. That's going to be Gilly taking the P5, or is it going to be Devon Young? It's not going to be Devon Young by 0.010 seconds. 5th place for the F1 tier driver. He's worked hard for that one. The tyres were absolutely nuts for those guys. Incredible. Incredible. That was a hell of a race. Peanuts gets a very well deserved driver of the day, of course. And Zingy is the man of the evening as he wins yet again in LSI. Pursoon not going to be too happy with it, but he gave it his best shot. Zingy takes the win. Pursoon in P2, Igor in P3. Then we've got Peanuts with the fastest lap. Gilly, Devon, Robbo, Becken, and then DNFing earlier on. On the first lap was Tom Brainer and Nabil. We go for the race director just in case, and then we will, of course, go to the post-race interviews. We will see you guys in a bit. Hello, Ron, and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Dutch Grand Prix. That was a pretty intense one, that is for sure. Now we start with Robbo. You were in the battles, and then unfortunately turn 3 was a little bit of a tricky one. Do you know what happened there? Do you think you can get on top of it if you're racing tomorrow?
Yeah, it was just a bit too high tyre pressures on the front. So they were consistently at like 104, 105 degrees, which was obviously a bit too high. It was just on the run up to turn 3, actually, turn 2. I used the curb as well, which probably unsettled the car a bit more. And there was just a bit of, it was a loose front end, actually, I think.
Right.
And then the rear just spun, and I wasn't really able to catch it. I thought I catched it, but obviously didn't. The race was, it was a bit of a shame considering I qualified P3, which wasn't too bad a lap. The first time I've been in the wet or into conditions around Zandvoort. So to set a pretty good lap, and then the spin and contact out in turn 1, I think we were 3 wide and I didn't realise, which was a bit of a shame, but yeah, we move. Good pace for tomorrow though, so it's all just practice. And yeah, we move on to tomorrow's race.
Awesome. Are you confident for tomorrow? Do you think you can get another top step?
Yeah, I think so. The pace wasn't too bad. I was matching the guys ahead. Obviously not Zingy and Pursuit, but the guys in my tier. Even though I was a bit behind, I was still able to track the delta, and I was on their pace. Taking into account the tire differences and everything. So the track feels good. It feels pretty smooth. There were a few bits and pieces that I had to clean up at the start, but after the full 50%, I'm feeling like I can go get a podium or another win.
Awesome. That is very good to hear. Now, next track, Abu Dhabi. Do you like that circuit?
Yeah, it's always been a good circuit for me. It provides good racing with the 2 straights. So there will be an interesting one, chaotic one, intense race for us all.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you.
And we move on to, I've completely messed it up. We're going to go to Gilly. Gilly, that was an interesting one, strategy-wise, absolutely mental. Were those tyres all right at the end, or were they pretty much on the limit?
They were better than Devon's. We were both we were on bald tyres just for tracking, fighting to the end, sorry. And it was 0.01 or something. Right as we crossed the finish, which was quite close. I almost forgot to shift up to 8, so that would have been funny. Qualifying was fun. I risked it for the soft at the end, which would have been funny as well, but couldn't quite do it. I was about 3 seconds off my best, but the track was improving. I reckon I could have gone right up there if I chose the right tyres.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is. You gave a very good race, and well done to stay in it with that hard tyre. Do you think you maybe should have pitted under the VSC, or do you think it was the right decision to stay on?
No, my plan was always to go to the end, and the VSC went in before I got even to the pit entrance, so right. I wouldn't have gained any time by pitting then, so I just committed.
Fair enough. Well done on beating Devon there, getting those extra points. Abu Dhabi, that's an interesting circuit. Of course, you've got to win there before in your time. Do you think you can do that again, maybe?
Not if you have anything to do with it, because I know you like to ruin my races at Abu Dhabi, but if not, I'll win. Easy.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I like the confidence, and we'll see you next time. Well done today, and great effort with the tyres, Gilly.
Thank you.
And we move on to Peanuts. Peanuts, that was a long old race. Had some nice battles with your teammate. Unfortunately, that time penalty did plague you, but you still happy with the performance?
Oh yeah, no, I mean this is the most fun I've had racing in months. I mean, for me, I've been so focused on like just performing every single time that it was nice to be able to just meme around a little bit. That's why I went to went to wet tires, because I thought it would be funny if I would do the rainbow challenge. But I didn't want to ruin, people's races, so I decided instead of like having the safety car out an extra lap, I would, if there was a safety car at the end, I would box for the inters and then box back to softs. But that didn't really happen, so I was like, I don't want to be, like a danger to people. So I decided to just not fulfill my rainbow challenge, and I missed the inters. But my race pace was quite good. I'm happy. I didn't train that much for this one. It was more just me having a lot of fun, doing my own thing. It just I want to force some fun fights too. That's why I wanted to do the rainbow challenge, because I thought if I'm far back, then maybe I can overtake or have fights with somewhat decent drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of succeed with. I mean, all around this has been arguably my most fun race of the season. I was just enjoying it the whole time.
Fair enough. Well, do you feel confident for tomorrow? You've got
definitely.
You've got experience on every single tire almost.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm thinking tomorrow, because Devin said last time that he was going to use my strat, so I'm gonna give him a heads up. I'm gonna start with the wets.
I have a very slight feeling that might not be quite true. Anyway, thank you, Peanuts. Abu Dhabi is the next circuit. Do you like that one?
Yeah, I like Abu Dhabi. I mean, if we're talking pace-wise, if we're not talking Netherlands, I think it's one of my better tracks of the ones that are left.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm gonna actually start racing in the tier 1 just to have fun. I'm not enjoying racing in tier 2 right now. It's just like having to perform every week and actually driving like a scaredy cat, and I do not enjoy that.
Fair enough.
I didn't really unleash today, but I just, there was no pressure today. So I mean, my most fun race league. I'm just pleased. I'm just happy.
Fair enough. Well done today. Thank you very much for the good battles, and we'll see you next time. Well done.
See you next time.
And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, that was a very tough battle. Not exactly easy, but you just managed to get it done. Did you catch Bassoon napping on the penultimate lap, or is he trying to hold you off?
The penultimate lap, do you mean the last lap?
When you went for the overtake, sorry.
No, well, Pursuit seemed to just not really challenge me coming into the last lap. I mean, the whole race was quite difficult, of course. But with the early safety car, which ruined my strategy, I heard you talking about how I'd be fuming, and I was very angry. But thankfully that VSE came out, we all pitted. Devin, unfortunately, with being Alpha Romeo, got held up. But in a way, I'm thankful for that, because it was just us two fighting at the front. And then I was able to just really focus on him, charge my battery up a bit. He was quick, but he used far too much battery, and I was able to keep up with him, so that's the mistake he made. And I think just having that extra bit of battery and that more consistency, because he made a few mistakes, that really helped me win this race.
Awesome. Well said. Abu Dhabi, very strong circuit for you. Do you think you can do well there? Do you think you'll have the upper hand and get a win?
I think pace-wise, I could have the upper hand, but I know Pursuit is mighty quick everywhere he goes, so you can't really take him out of the equation as of yet, but I'll try my best in that. Obviously, I want to win, so I'll try my best to make that my goal.
Awesome. Thank you very much, well said, Singy, and we'll see you next time. Awesome job today.
See you.
And we move on to Devon, who has decided he wants to do an interview. Devon, that was an interesting one. It seemed like you were having a struggle at the beginning of the race, maybe with wheel issues. But yeah, starting pretty far down the order, getting up to the top 3 for a while, having, of course, the pit stop kind of shenanigans, and then having a bit of a weird race to the end. Are you happy with how it went, or just kind of it is what it is?
Well, it is what it is. It was quite fun. I mean, obviously, like the entire race was somewhat shambolic. At the start, I didn't get in for qualifying because my game was all messed up. And then when I did get on, my force feedback was like, I mean, the entire race it was on really high, and so that was kind of hard. It was a bit of a workout. But then yeah, quite a few like weird safety cars and virtuals. I messed up a bit by going the Alfa Romeo. And obviously I got held up, and then I went on the wrong tire as well. I didn't mean to go on the soft. That was a stupid idea. My tires were literally about to get a puncture at the end. But yeah, a bit of a weird race. Hopefully tomorrow goes a bit like smoother, and there's not so many things to think about. But I suppose I got some good tire information going onto those softs nice and early, so we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. You know how long they last and the pace of them, of course, and also you hopefully have got all of your bad luck kind of with the I don't know strategy and hardware issues out the way. So hopefully,
I'd rather have it today than tomorrow, I suppose. So.
Do you feel confident for tomorrow? Do you think you can get a win and gain back a bit on the championship?
Yeah, I think if I do a little bit more practice tomorrow, I should be all right. I think while I was with Zingy and Pursuit, I wasn't really pushing much, and I was just sort of sat behind them. So I feel like if I didn't have the pit stop issue, I would have been with them until the end of the race also. So I think my pace is decent. But yeah, like I said, hopefully there's a bit of a smoother ride to the end rather than all the shenanigans. But we shall see.
So the moral of the story is don't have a teammate, I guess, maybe.
Pretty much, mate. Yeah. Solo it out, you know.
Fair enough. Well, moving on to the next race, Abu Dhabi. Do you like that circuit? Is something that suits you, or is it not really a favourite because it doesn't suit everyone?
Honestly, can't really. I have had a few league races there, but I feel like my opinion changes of it, all the time. I don't know why. Like, I feel like at the moment I have quite a high. It's quite high on my list, but I don't know. We'll see. It usually when I start like playing it, you know, like I guess practicing it a bit, then I'm waffling. Just end the stream, mate. I don't know what I'm on.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Devon. Really well done today. It's a shame that you didn't get the move in the end, but you gave a good show. So thank you.
It's a close one.
Yeah, well done today. And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for the Dutch Grand Prix for the F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you next weekend for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The closing stages of the championship are here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.